Coast Light Training chose San Marcos because it has a very business-friendly attitude. The minute that we started looking at San Marcos for an aviation training location, we found great working relationships with the people out in the community and a lot of cooperation that made it very feasible for us to set up our business here. We're very grateful for that.
I chose San Marcos because Texas State is an emerging research university and we're in an area full of job opportunity.
The root cellar chose San Marcos because it's a special area that's unique in the world. We've got a world-class river, we've got an amazing community, we have artists, and they're all excited to support local businesses. So what's not to love?
I'm Carrie Fontenot.
I'm Megan with Root Cellar Bakery and Catering Co.
I'm Dan Verda from Coast Light Training, and we chose San Marcos.
And I chose San Marcos.
We chose San Marcos.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful video that our staff put together just in the last few days. You know, with a city like San Marcos, we really are blessed with a beautiful natural river and 2,400 acres of pristine green spaces and 23 miles of hiking and biking trails in that green space. So when we produce videos like those, they always come out so spectacular. But what I can't help to wonder is what those types of videos might look like in the city of Amarillo. And I'll have to check with my friend and former city manager, Jared Miller, about that. But anyway, no offense to anybody from Amarillo. But 25 years ago, I passed through Central Texas while on vacation. And I made a stop here in San Marcos. And I was in awe of the natural beauty of the San Marcos River, and I spent quite a bit of time exploring the 72-degree, beautiful, crystal clear water. So that day, I quite literally took a plunge. I went into the water a visitor, but when I broke through the surface, I knew that I had arrived home. Just 3 weeks later, I packed a van with all my belongings and I moved to San Marcos. And I've been here ever since. The river captured my attention, but the community captured my heart, and I truly became a part of this place. So a lot has changed in those last 25 years. Our population has doubled. Downtown continues to be revitalized with new businesses have located here, from mom and pop shops to international companies. Texas State University has become one of the largest universities in the state, and our city and city staff and services have increased to meet the needs of this growing community. The state of our city is strong, and this city and this region will continue to grow and change. But what remains constant is the passion of our community, the commitment of our friends, our neighbors, business owners, artists, musicians, the vibrant university student body, to preserve the unique culture and natural beauty and the hometown feel of our ever-evolving, fast-growing city. Now, we've made many partners in our mission that make San Marcos a stronger and more economically diverse community that holds fast to its foundation and the things that make it great, and many of you are here today. First, the San Marcos Chamber of Commerce, the voice for the area business community. Thank you to the Board of Directors, Executive Leadership, and Jason Mock, President and CEO, for organizing this event. And I'd like to thank my fellow elected officials who are here with us today and are my partners in making San Marcos the heart of the corridor. Together, we work to ensure the voices of our citizens are represented, and we guide the decisions that shape the future of San Marcos. We aren't alone in our work and our commitment to this great city. We have an extremely talented staff, including our interim city manager, Mr. Charles Daniels, assistant city manager Steve Parker and Colette Jameson, and our city's executive team and all the members of the San Marcos City staff. Our community remains one of the fastest growing cities in the fastest growing regions in the country. And as of January 2017, the population of San Marcos has reached over 59,000. And that's up from just shy of 45,000 in 2010. And that's a 30% increase. At that current rate of estimated growth, we project the population of San Marcos to reach nearly 85,000 people by 2030, just 13 years from now. That's another 44% increase. The secret is out, right? Everybody has found San Marcos and found what many of us have found when we decided to come here. Hays County is expected to grow by 69% to 315,000 residents and was recently named the fastest growing county over 100,000 population in the country. The Austin-San Antonio corridor, along with Dallas and Houston, will make up one of the largest mega regions in our country by 2050, with nearly 35 million residents. This is the reality for the city we live in, as well as the region we share with our neighboring cities. We can't wish away growth, and we can't afford to bury our heads in the sand, hoping that it won't happen. So as a community, we must face head-on the challenges that come from this growth: aging infrastructure, mobility sources, long-term water sources, just to name a few. One of our major challenges, however, obviously we all experience this, is the prospect that we could find ourselves landlocked by traffic congestion. Just imagine if the traffic on I-35 from our city limits to Austin were as bad as the traffic is in Austin right now. With a large amount of our current workforce, I know that's a nightmare, right? I agree. With a large amount of our current workforce commuting into the city for work and our unemployment rate being below 4%, essentially full employment, employers may choose to not locate here if they can't find the workers willing or able to get here to fill those positions. For these reasons, and many more, we must never relent on our commitment to find a congestion-proof alternative to I-35. And we will also need to balance the needs of the longtime residents with the influx of new residents and businesses by providing quality and diverse housing for all the people who choose to call San Marcos home. In 2016, several new housing developments came online, including the Kissing Tree subdivision that just cut the ribbon for their premier adult active community, which will soon include more than 3,000 homes, and an 18-hole golf course open to the public with discounts for San Marcos residents. Some of us are very excited about that. Kissing Tree's target audience of active adults 55 and older is right on point, according to Forbes magazine, who recently named San Marcos one of the best cities in the U.S. to retire. The city has also worked to meet the goals set by previous city councils to strengthen the middle class, facilitate the creation of affordable housing, and retain the best and the brightest from Texas State University. Developments on 4 additional housing developments, Trace, La Cima, Whisper, Texas, and Cotton Center, have helped us make strides toward these goals. Work on these developments has been ongoing for several years, but the economy is now ready, and the need is greater than ever. In 2016, 350 single-family homes were permitted, and that's a record over the past 10 years. Homes have come online in Blanco Vista, Cottonwood Creek, The Retreat at Willow Creek, Kissing Tree, Vista de los Santos, and other areas of town. And for the second consecutive year, Blanco Vista has added the most single-family homes with a total of 123 new homes permitted. And additionally, 300 single-family lots have been platted and 1,500 lots had been preliminary platted. Now, our City Council has worked to overcome the housing challenges presented after our community experienced 2 devastating floods in 2015. The city lobbied our federal and state agencies and was successful. The Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded San Marcos $25 million to address the needs of the community to rebuild and recover. Let me put that in perspective. The city of Houston, which also had many thousands of residents and homes affected by the same flooding and the same storms in the same year, was awarded $60 million. We're pretty good at lobbying. Additionally, the city, in conjunction with Hays County, is in the final stages of seeking an $8 million federal grant from the Natural Resources Conservation Service for our flood control dams that were damaged in the 2015 floods. In all, the city has received over $57 million federal dollars because of our efforts with our federal delegation. It's been a lengthy process, as many things are when working with the federal government, but I'm happy to report that this month the city of San Marcos is rolling out a housing program with funds to help San Marcos families who experienced home damage in 2015 to rebuild, renovate, and make their homes more sustainable. Sustainability has been on the top of our mind and in the top of the community's mind and the council for the past decade. Foremost is flood resiliency. The council has adopted new higher standards in flood damage protection ordinances requiring a detailed flood analysis of any proposed development in the floodplain, requiring finished floors to be 2 feet above base flood elevation, as well as other requirements to take steps towards reducing the risk of flood damages. Just a little over a week ago, the City Council worked with staff to identify 5 infrastructure projects that will be paid for with our $25 million disaster recovery grant to mitigate flooding in the most susceptible neighborhoods. And we are connecting with other governmental agencies, including Hays County, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and the Texas Water Development Board on local as well as regional flood mitigation solutions, and working closely with FEMA on revising our flood insurance maps. As our city continues to grow, sustainability also encompasses our need to maintain and increase our city's infrastructure so we can get around town easily, turn on the tap to clean flowing water, and flip a switch to light our homes. Last fiscal year alone, the city invested $60 million in design and construction for capital improvement projects to address aging infrastructure, drainage, or needed improvements, including the Victory Gardens Phase 1 subdivision improvements and the Old Ranch Road 12 improvements. Steps towards addressing drainage issues in our downtown and adding infrastructure to stretch our potable water supply by maximizing the use of reclaimed water. Excuse me. Another $31 million is being invested right now on 10 projects under construction, such as improvements to LBJ, the San Marcos Municipal Airport, and improving neighborhood drainage. We talk a lot about drainage. It's one of our biggest problems, and it's being funded by one of our smallest funds. We've implemented a complete street program that addresses street improvements and expands our trails and adds bike lanes. We're investing in improvements that help us create a multimodal community and provide safe transportation options for our residents, including an annual overlay and reconstruction of 22 miles of road annually. And we're increasing pedestrian mobility by laying or repairing 11,000 linear feet of sidewalks each and every year. Transit services have expanded through our partnership, the Capital Area Rural Transportation Service, CARTS. We've added 6 brand new, more environmentally friendly buses equipped with Wi-Fi. We've updated our routes. We've expanded our hours into the evening and to accommodate residents and advance our goal of connecting our community with reliable and affordable transportation options. Council is committed to the long-needed maintenance of our city facilities and planning for future growth. It's one of my highest priorities. We've made do with aging infrastructure by renovating the second floor of our municipal building to provide space for our planning and permitting and engineering departments and to create a one-stop shop for our customers. We've also been exploring creative solutions to address our 35 to 40-year-old City Hall and public services facilities. If you've visited recently, you know that we're out of space. We have people working in closets, we have people working in hallways. And that's a real problem for a growing city. But the bigger concerns are the structural issues and the rising maintenance costs of those facilities. And we've already begun with recommendations from our Community Improvement Task Force to seek out fiscally responsible ways to move forward with new facility plans. We've also heard your comments and your concerns about adequate parking, and we've expanded lots at Plaza Park and at the City Park, adding more than 140 spaces at City Park alone and moving them farther away from the river to reduce the potential for runoff and river pollution. In just a few days, we will ask voters to decide on a $32 million bond project for public safety and library facility expansion. If passed, the bonds allow the city to increase the size of the San Marcos Public Library by 29,000 square feet, creating additional meeting rooms and enclosing the children's room. It will allow us to renovate the existing facility and expand the parking lot and add a drive-through book drop to our library, one of the busiest in the corridor. If passed, the bonds allow the city to add a new fire station, replace and relocate an existing station currently in a 63-year-old structure, and add a live fire training facility. It'll also provide renovations to our 23-year-old police department by adding security enhancements, space for new detectives, and to expand the 911 call center. Our focus reaches further than just expanding the city facilities and infrastructure, but we are also committed to economic expansion for our city residents by diversifying our tax base and increasing our sales taxes and job market. According to the Texas Workforce Commission, over the past 5 years, San Marcos has increased its employment by over 30%, while experiencing an 8.2% increase in median household income. San Marcos has also experienced a phenomenal growth in sales tax revenue, especially important this year to talk about. From 2011 to 2016, the total annual sales from tax revenue collected by the city increased by over 44%. And that increase is mainly thanks to our outlet malls, but also to our downtown, which has experienced the highest increase in sales tax revenue generation out of any other part of our city in recent years. Now, we're working to expand and strengthen our existing businesses and entrepreneurs with new initiatives, including the Business Improvement Grant Program. Launched last year, it provides technical and financial assistance to property owners or business tenants who seek to renovate or restore facilities, facades, signs, lighting, or other life safety systems through a 50% matching grant up to $20,000. Additionally, we've had several big wins in terms of diversifying the job market and increasing career opportunities, from Epic Piping, one of the largest privately owned turnkey industrial pipe fabrication firms in the world, to the world-renowned innovator, Amazon. These two companies alone represent over 3,300 jobs today, and the potential for more in the future. A few more recent additions to San Marcos economic growth include Coast Flight Training Center at the San Marcos Airport. This new facility focuses on training former military helicopter pilots who are transitioning to careers as civilian pilots for the nation's top airlines. Now, through this unique program, Coast Flight Training is expected to train 200 pilots a year in San Marcos, and we're proud to play a role in these veterans' transition into civilian employment. This investment highlights the increasing value of the San Marcos Airport as a catalyst for the region's economic development. But we're equally proud to be home of the Best Buy call center, a first of its kind in Texas and the sole Best Buy e-commerce operation in this state. The facility opened late last year in a building that's been mostly vacant for 20 years. The center will bring 50 jobs to San Marcos, but more importantly, will generate up to $1.25 million a year in sales tax for San Marcos and growing annually for the next 30 years. And that's making it one of the most lucrative economic development agreements we've ever negotiated. And just recently announced, the Urban Mining Company has selected San Marcos as the location for its new state-of-the-art rare earth magnet manufacturing facility and headquarters, the only producer of this technology in the United States. 97% of this industry occurs in China. 3% occurs right here in San Marcos. And this company will add more than 100 advanced manufacturing and tech jobs to San Marcos and Hays County. The annual average wage of these jobs will exceed the average of the city of San Marcos residents, which now sits at just $29,000 a year. And this company anticipates a capital investment of $25 million and will serve as the anchor tenant of a growing manufacturing, distribution, and industrial park. These huge wins would not have been possible without the assistance and the hard work of the Greater San Marcos Partnership, led by Adriana Cruz. Yes, let's give them a... And I want to personally recognize Adriana, her staff, and her board, and recognize them for their innovation, their persistence, their expertise in expanding opportunities for San Marcos and the greater San Marcos region. Thank you all. And I want to recognize my colleagues on the council and the former elected officials who worked side by side with me to ensure that when we offer economic development incentives to companies like these who provide major benefits to the community, we also ensure that we only count the jobs that provide a family living wage of $15 per hour plus health insurance or more towards any incentive that they receive. Recently, the city of San Marcos also, we changed the policy for the city, and now I'm proud to say that every single city full-time employee is above that wage level. Thank you. Thank you. We're very proud of that. And job growth and creation is vital, as is safety and infrastructure, but the heart and the soul of the city is what brings people, including me, and what makes them stay. We've had many victories in the last few years, but the one that fills my heart the most are the ones that preserve the San Marcos that I fell in love with 25 years ago. Projects including the San Marcos Mural Arts Program that can transform a concrete barricade into a visual masterpiece and creates partnerships with local businesses and the city to create a sense of place and to add to the uniqueness of our city, and the Community Enhancement Program that focuses on beautifying our city and keeping it clean. Another of my key priorities, a clean and litter-free community. Challenge SMTX encourages folks to pick up litter, even when it's not your own. And our new animal-proof trash cans that keep trash where it belongs and out of our sacred river, the habitat of our endangered species. I'm also inspired by the contributions of long-standing community partnerships like Keep San Marcos Beautiful that recently re-energized the spring concerts with Live on the Lawn, an opportunity to combine music, family fun, and programs that focus on recycling and sustainability. And preservation isn't just about the river. We also are dedicated to preserving the integrity of our neighborhoods while balancing the need for student housing in a small city that's home to the 4th largest university in the state of Texas. We're strengthening our land development code to require conditional use permits and smart code regulations to better manage student housing. We're also addressing our single-family neighborhoods with programs that inspire, like the Compliance Alliance, our effort to change the community's mindset about code enforcement by educating people about their responsibilities to maintain their property. Now, none of these initiatives, improvements, projects, or programs would be in place without the work of our very talented and dedicated staff and community partners. I can't talk about our success without recognizing the boots on the ground, from our San Marcos firefighters who received a 97% approval rating on a recent community survey, or to our librarians who checked out 473,000 books to over 370,000 visitors in 2016 alone. Our Habitat Conservation Plan employees and volunteers were recognized last year by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for replacing invasive plants with natives and reducing soil erosion on the river by 50%. The city's Public Services Department deserves praise for placing second in the ranking of water conservation efforts among Texas water utilities. I can't forget our GIS or IT teams who won multiple awards for innovative use of technology during the floods, and our communications department who received praise from their regional media partners and peers for keeping the information flowing during those tough times in 2015. The past years, we've stepped up our communication efforts and we've embraced two-way digital communication and digital engagement. This year, the city communications team and the entire city has worked towards a new website, a virtual city hall, that will be unveiled to the community in just a few weeks and provide a new and improved online portal for our residents and businesses. Our finance department has been awarded the Government Finance Association Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Planning for 25 years in a row. And the planning department was recently recognized by the American Planning Association for its innovative ordinances for sidewalk cafes, parklets, and other similar uses of public right-of-way. There isn't enough time to recognize the exemplary individual contributions of each of our 650 employees who work every day to make this a safe and vibrant and informed community. But I do want to take the time to express my gratitude to them for keeping the city running during a time of transition as we seek the next city manager to lead the team and the community into the future. This is one of our top priorities as we stand here today. The city is currently working with a respected government executive search firm to find a leader with a collaborative spirit and a commitment to open and transparent government. A leader who understands the needs to preserve the history of San Marcos as well as its natural beauty. A leader with experience in business, retention, and development in a high-growth area, who is a good listener, has experience in managing a community with a high level of civic engagement, and I might add, who has a thick skin. While the leadership at the city may change, our residents and our business community remain steadfast. Being here today proves that you are an active and engaged and valuable member of our community and cornerstone of our city. On behalf of myself, the City Council, and the entire city of San Marcos, I applaud you for volunteerism, participating in community meetings, for sharing your concerns, keeping us accountable, and being the driving force in our community's success. Thanks for reminding me every day why I chose San Marcos and why for me and thousands of others, it will always be home. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the great city of San Marcos, Texas.